32 bases loaded down.
We're back, baby.
Stop. Once again.
Don't you dare say it, man.
Once again.
Don't you dare.
You were late.
Hey, I was 2 minutes late, guys. 2 minutes. But, you know what they say. If you're 30 minutes early, you're late, right? You got to show up an hour.
I don't know, dude. You're always late. Now, before we get into today's subject, there's a video swirling around on social media where you were literally a clown. Is that? Can we go over this?
Hey, so I decided to take the little ones to Brothers something circus here in downtown, and man, we had a good time. So I'm over there getting close to, we sit very close to the main stage, and there's clowns start walking around looking for people, and I'm wearing like a pink shirt.
Oh, they pick you right off.
He came straight for me.
Right off, didn't they?
It's like, sir, come in here. And, man, there was quite a bit of people there. And I was like, man, let's do this.
So you were a clown for an hour?
I was clown for maybe 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
Okay, well.
And I heard your little one don't like clowns, so I was going to dress up like a clown.
She don't like clowns, that's for sure. Well, with that being said, high school baseball is in full strength right now, and what a better way to have – man, this man don't need no introduction. Here for the second time. And by the way, we're negotiating to hopefully become a permanent member here at one point. Mr. Coach Senato from Brewer High School. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Man,
Well,
it's exciting. This is exciting for some of you guys. If you check out our videos, you got to know that this last session with Coach is one of the top views in our podcast, so get ready for what's coming.
Can I also say the fact that you weren't here that one day too? So I don't know if that
exactly. That's probably why they got so many views, because I was not here.
How are you, Coach?
I'm good. Thanks for having me back.
Rude, man. You hurting my feelings.
Coach, I gotta ask you a question now. We were talking before we got started, and what's the message? What was the message yesterday? Obviously, district got going. Obviously, you being in a tough district, every game matters. So what was the message yesterday? How'd it go? Obviously, it was a good game. So what was the message to your boys?
Well, the high school baseball has got 4 different phases. You've got the beginning part where you are scrimmaging other schools. So you're getting everybody in, you're getting your arms in, you're trying to ramp people up pitch counts, get them in shape. Then you've got the 3 weeks of tournaments. And that's the craziest part of the season, because you're playing in 3 weeks, you're playing more than half your games, which, we front load our schedule in high school baseball. I'm not a big fan of it. There's something else I'm going to propose to coaches. I don't think it'll get a lot of traction, but I'm going to propose it anyway. And then phase 3 is when you start district play. So you're trying to get your arms in shape, figure out who your top guys are, and then those will be the guys that are going to carry you the rest of the season. And if you're lucky, you get to phase 4, which is the playoffs. So we started phase 3 last night.
Well, you started a tough game against Aledo. 3-2 loss. Obviously, looks like it was a good game.
Yeah, it was a real good game. They're very talented. We faced 3 really good arms. They're loaded with talent, with arms, guys that can run it up there, 86 or better. We faced a guy. Their starter was 86, 88 when I scouted him against Denton Geyer a couple weeks ago. When I watched him, he carried a no-hitter into the 6th against Denton Geyer, another good program. Then they brought in a kid that was, when I watched him a couple weeks ago, he was 87 to 91. And he was all of that last night, maybe then some. We jumped on him. We were up 2-0.
Yeah.
And then, when you think you've seen everything in baseball, something else happens. And last night, something happened I'd never seen before.
Well, I heard there's a funny story behind it. So, we're all ears here, and
Yeah, I don't know how funny it is, but it's definitely crazy. So we scored 2 in the bottom of the 3rd, and we're up 2-0. Our pitcher goes out there at the top of the fourth, and he's warming up. Those his 5 warm-up pitches. Catcher throws the ball down to second base and hits him in his throwing hand right there, right on the top of his throwing hand. And I'm looking down. I don't see it, but I hear ball hit flesh. You know that sound. And I look up, I'm like, what is going on? And he's holding his hand. So I go out there, and it's starting to swell up a little bit. He throws a couple pitches. He says he's good. So I get the bullpen going. And he's not good. So I think he faced 3 hitters, didn't get anybody out. So I pull him, put in the next kid, and we get out of it only giving up 2 runs. So it's 2-2 after that. But I'm like, how does this happen? How do we
Man.
how are we throwing it down in between innings and we hit our starting pitcher in his hand he's in total control through 3 innings.
Funny, not funny.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Funny, not funny.
You know, the heads up, you know, when somebody hears. I want to say a couple of years ago, I was coaching a team, and we were at a McKinney. I don't know if you ever went to Craig Ranch. They used to have a facility off of 121. It's a similar facility, but it was just more high school. And I remember there was a guy that hit a foul ball from the other field, and the pitcher was warming up, and they said, heads up. It got him straight in the nose, broken nose.
But hey, Senato, that's not the first time that has happened.
No.
You know, it has happened quite a bit, and usually, you know, after that pitcher, you know, released that last warm-up pitch, they kind of walked off, and, you know, but, you know, clearly he probably just stayed right there.
X-ray negative?
Yeah, he was fine today. He was fine. In fact, we let our pitchers take BP today, and he gets in there, and he's banging balls. Coach, I need to get some at-bats. Okay. And then a ball, you know, we're hitting off the machine. You know, we've got it turned up because we're trying to simulate velo because we're going to see more velo tomorrow. And he takes a pitch. Like on his.
He's like a magnet.
So he takes a pitch here on his forearm, and he turns around and just flexes at us. I'm like, dude, you need to calm down. Get out of there.
Hey,
Get out of there.
You know, there's actually pills that can hit, man. Yeah. And for some reason, anytime that your regular guys are not hitting, they start grabbing their bats, and they're like, "Let's go, give me an at bat." But man, I'm excited, and I know last time I wasn't here, but man, I'm loaded up with questions, man, because you know, Victor and I, we talked a lot about you know, the culture of youth baseball. How, you know, people think that, man, they're just gonna play at the best team in youth baseball and get to high school and continue that role of a starting spot. And in many cases, that's not the case. And one of my first questions to you is, what are the chances what are you looking for as a freshman to get to start on a varsity team?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Let's see. This is my 29th year as a high school head coach, and I think I've had 6 freshmen start for me.
So the chances are very low.
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got to be physical. You know, usually it's a bigger, stronger kid. I think all 6 guys either went on to play Division I college baseball or they had an opportunity to. So they were polished, they were strong physically, and the speed of the game didn't bother them. You know, that's the main thing, is the speed of the game from the varsity level to the JV level and the freshman level. And I tell the parents all the time, you know, varsity baseball is 19 and under. And you're a 14-year-old, you're trying to play with 19-year-olds, 18, 19-year-olds. That's a big jump. That's a big jump. So, you know, for a freshman to play at the varsity level, they're a special talent. Or maybe it's a position that you're not deep at. You know, those upperclassmen. Probably one of the best ones I ever had. I'd heard a lot of hype about him, but I'm like, no, he's going to have to earn it. So first day of practice, I made him go with the JV, and I saw him field one ball at shortstop. He laid out a ball in the 5-6 hole, lays out, comes up from a knee, throws a guy out at first base. I'm like, that's all I need to see. Let's go. You with me now. You with me now. Let's go. Let's go. He could play.
So more than an attitude, of course, is the they have to be physically prepared to compete against guys that are 2, maybe 3 years older than them.
For sure.
And so I wanted to make sure that there's so many questions that I have, but I make sure that Victor Ultra has a chance. But man, there's a lot of it has happened in so many ways where these kids, they never get to sit the bench throughout their youth career, and they get to high school, and now they've realized that, hey, my daddy's not the coach that is gonna let me play regardless if I suck or not. And now I have a guy that doesn't know me at all, and I don't get to play, and they don't know how to handle the now playing, going from playing all the time, every tournament, and now they get to sit the bench, and they just can't figure it out themselves. Like, I'm sure that you have gone through maybe kids like that they come in and they expect, everything's going to be given to them, and it's not,
No, and, youth baseball, 9, 10, 11, 12U, what are the roster sizes?
Yeah, well,
10,
not
11,
12, 13, 14,
12, okay.
15,
right
16, 17, 18,
we
19.
talking about that.
Yeah, 19.
Okay. So
Yes, 19.
so but the typical one, the typical size.
It's about 12, yes.
12, okay. So you got 12 kids on a team. Probably Saturdays you may bet all 12, and then maybe
Not everywhere.
well, no, but
No.
but like, well, with Alito, I'll give you a great example. Their program, they dressed 31 kids last night on the varsity. We dressed 22. So I mean, just do the math. They got 9 guys, pitcher, DH for the pitcher. So they got 10 guys in the lineup. So that means there's 21 guys sitting. We had 10 guys in the lineup. We had 12 guys sitting. So, but you have to carry large rosters because of the way we schedule games, because we play those tournaments. We play 6 games in 3 days, in February, and I don't have anybody. I'm not going to throw a kid out there more than 70 pitches the first weekend of the season, at 70, 80 pitches. So we're going to use 2, 3 guys every game. And, guys aren't ready to throw. Now you get to district. Now you'll start seeing guys getting up to 100 pitches. You will.
Yeah, and that's I saw that Tuesday. Me personally, but I asked him earlier before we got started, and I saw Luke on Tuesday night. He got to 103. I felt like after 77, he was probably like, I don't think he was. I'm not saying that he was tired, but you can tell that the fatigue was starting to become a factor, or maybe that was just his demeanor. He was just, but he mentioned me that 103. That's like people are starting to get ramped up at this point in the season. So it's like it's a norm, for them. One thing I do gotta ask is, the length of the game. It seems like the game was extremely slow. Do you ever feel like that clock will make its way into high school? I mean, obviously there's some logistics with the stadium has to happen, but man, boy, was it a long game. Yeah.
We could have a pitch clock in high school, because when I coach collegiately during the summer, those guys, they've got the little buzzers, and we play with the pitch clock during collegiate ball during the summer, and there's no reason why we couldn't do that in high school, for sure. There's no reason why we couldn't do that.
So does the pickoff move too. I think they picked 10 times in a row.
In a row
on Tuesday.
Yeah, that's.
I was like,
they're trying to waste time.
Focus on the hitter.
Hey, get this guy out, man. But man, what's crazy is that we had we also talk about this, how there's kids that they get to that play, or they want to try out for a high school team, and they don't make a high school team, freshman, JV, or varsity. So now what is next for those guys? Do we encourage them, hey, come back next year, go play find a travel ball team, play some summer ball, and then try again the next fall? Like, what do you recommend to those guys that this year they did not make a high school team?
they should definitely get on a team in the spring, definitely in the summer. I've had plenty of kids where we've cut them 1 year, and I've told them, "Hey, you're welcome to go back to tryouts next year, but here's what you need to do." I had a kid a couple years ago. He came and tried out. He was cut the year before I got to the school. He tries out for me my first year there. I cut him, and he's like, "But coach, I can pitch too." I'm like, "Well, why didn't you tell me that?" So I told him, "Here's what you do: get on a team this summer and pitch. And every time you pitch, if 5 tool or whoever makes you picture the game, any kind of video, you tag me. I'll see them. That way, I'll see them. And if you want it bad enough, come and get it." And he did that. So I'm watching his videos all summer, all fall. He comes to tryouts, throwing strikes. He's a junior. He's about 80, 79, 80. Like, well, we can put him on our JV team. He was our best pitcher on JV that year. And then his senior year, he ends up being one of our top 4 pitchers. He's throwing in district. He got a couple of district starts, and he got an opportunity to play college baseball.
Did that, man.
At an NAI
Don't you love
school.
don't you love stories like that, man? Like,
You just don't let me, don't take no as an answer from me. If you want it bad enough, then do it. And every year it happens. The kids that make it, they get comfortable. They don't work. They think they got it made.
Is it tough for you? I mean, obviously 29 years, so I guess you get used to it, but is it tough to, I don't know, let's just say you keep 60 players in your program. Is it tough that 58 through 62, those last 4, is it tough for you, or do you kind of have an idea at some point, like, I know who is coming, or is it been to a point that you ever like, man, I gotta let him go, and like, and it's just a tough one.
I try to be upfront and honest with them, and we'll have exit meetings at the end of this season, and there'll be a group of kids that I will sit down and tell them, look, if you don't do these things over the summer and next fall, there's a group of incoming freshmen coming, and we're going to keep a bunch of them, and like next year we're going to have a big senior class. We'll have at least 16. That doesn't count who's going to transfer in, move in, whatever. So, I'm going to have 16 seniors next year.
Man,
that's so tough. I mean, you look at the numbers, and like, we over the last few months that we have talked about all this preparation, people don't realize that you're doing all that stuff just to try to get into a freshman team. I mean, it's a tough, like, and I don't know if programs are doing it the right. I'm not saying high school program. I mean the youth. I just don't think they're doing it the right way.
Man, from your perspective, of course, I coach. I have a 11U and a 13U. What's something that us as coaches, we got to make sure that we are doing to get these kids ready to play high school ball, because of course, and I include myself, we want to play more than we practice. We want to do all these. We want to go all over the country. We want to do this, play what? 5, I mean, how long it takes to make it to the championship in a tournament? 5, 6 games?
Man, yeah.
Which is a lot, know, and with only 12 players, you're trying to get 6 games in 2 days. 2 on Saturday, and then try to get 5 games in or 4 games in on a Sunday, and you only carry 12, and most guys pitch multiple days, and of course there is a limit on pitch counts, and but do you feel like the youth program of youth travel ball this year is getting these guys ready for high school, or we just got it all backwards?
I think if most high school coaches were honest, I would bet that most of them would say they can't believe the lack of fundamentals for the incoming freshmen. And my barometer for baseball IQ is running the bases. That's where I can really tell if a kid is smart up here, or if he hasn't played much or hasn't been coached, is knowing when to go, different base running situations. That's the one part of the game that I feel is undercoached at the youth level. Everyone's about throwing hard, hitting home runs, but base running, man, base running, you can, like, we pulled off a double steal last night. That's how we scored. That's how we have to beat a team like Alito. That's far more talented than we are. We're gonna have to play small ball. I mean, we're facing 4 D1 arms. We're not gonna bang out 8, 9, 10 hits and score 5, 6 runs. You're just not. No one's gonna do that against those arms. So you better be able to manufacture runs, bunt, steal, hit and run, squeeze, double steals. That's how my team. That's how we can beat a team like that, is to play that kind of baseball.
What is the perfect? I won't say not the perfect, but what is something that, as coaches, we got to be constantly doing at our practices to make sure that, first of all, the guys are ready for the game, where the game doesn't speed up on them, and then they just go nuts. And second of all, something that you guys as high school coaches are looking for when those kids go there to try out, like what those how that looks like. Tryouts for you guys. Kids coming in. What is a tryout day on for a high school team?
Okay, for me, what I like to do, like, the most important thing is watching them play catch. That's the number one thing. And this is going to sound kind of cocky and arrogant, and that's fine, but I could make cuts after watching play catch. The majority of kids, he's played. Look at those feet. Oh man, active feet. Look, no.
Can I just interrupt? Can I just interrupt you for 1 second?
That's deep.
And say that my son looked straight in the eyes whenever he said, as soon as he played catch, he looked straight at me like if I'm just.
He heard that before. That's true.
It's playing catch. I mean, that just your actions, your baseball actions, your arm action, the way you catch the ball, the way you move your feet. I tell my infielders, if you don't feel the ball with your hand, I don't care about. You want to have good hands, but you feel the baseball with your feet. When we make throwing errors, that's the most kind of errors you make in high school baseball. And most of the time it's because infielders put themselves in bad positions to throw with their feet. And it's something we work on every day with our infielders. And they're probably sick of it. They probably hate it. But, we haven't made too many errors this year.
Staying consistent with it. And I feel like, I'm the fundamental guy that I feel like we don't, like our practices, when we get fields, it's like an hour and a half. I mean, there's only so much you can get in an hour and a half.
Yes.
And, you try to get all your fundamentals in, and then maybe your last 35 minutes is when you get to do some hitting off the machine. And that's another thing I wanted to ask you, of course, hitting off the machine, hitting velo at an early age, making sure that, of course, you guys are seeing guys that are 90 plus, 89, 90, and they're 17, 18?
Yeah.
And, getting those younger guys to get used to seeing some velo early on. Like, some teams might have access to a hack attack, which they're not cheap, but if you can use one, get them going. And another one is, which we talk about this a lot, is, do you recommend kids playing up? Or just like, what is the requirement in your perspective? Where I have kids right now that are 13, but they have not hit puberty yet, but they have to get ready for high school, which they need to get a little taste of 60-90, but their arms are not strong enough to pitch. It's like you want to give them a chance that, hey, get your little taste, hit us, swing a drop 3, but their bodies are not there yet. So I, in my perspective, I'm trying to figure out, did I keep them in 54-80 a little longer, maybe towards the end, I give them a little taste of, 60-90, which that's what they're doing next year anyway. They got to
Right.
swing their drop threes. Maybe at practice, everybody brings a drop three, swing at them at practice. But and we talk about this, how kids that have hit puberty at 13, oh yeah, it's easier to play on the big field. But those kids that are not there yet, and you could see them and their bodies are not ready to go out there on a big field, what you recommend for those guys?
Yeah, that's a big jump from 54-80 to 60-90. And that's what that's what I mean about those 6 guys that have started for me as freshmen. They could play on the 60-90. It was not an issue for them. I would say if you could play up, because you want to play varsity as a freshman, you're playing up. So if you haven't played up before you get to high school, how are you going to do that?
Man.
You're just going to flip the switch? Don't talk to me about flipping the switch. We don't flip the switch. You don't flip the switch. So I would say if you could play up as you're coming up, play up. But I've had plenty of kids that we've kept as freshmen, and you look at them as freshmen, you don't know how they're going to grow and develop. You think they're just roster filler. You have no idea what they're going to develop into. I've had multiple. There's one kid in particular, and I'll say his name, Colin Poche. He pitches in the Rays bullpen. When he was a freshman, he was the last kid we kept at Flower Mound Marcus. My first year at Flower Mound Marcus. He's there was 5 kids on the board. My assistant coach was debating on these 5 kids, and I'm like, well, what about Poche? And oh, coach, he doesn't throw very hard. I said, yeah, but he's in basketball right now. I said, have you seen his feet? His feet are huge. He grows into those feet. He's a lefty. I don't want to cut a left-handed pitcher. He throws strikes, right? Yeah. Well, he's only throwing like 70, 72. Let's not cut left-handed pitching. So as a freshman, he's 5'10", throwing 70, 72. As a senior, he's 6'3", throwing in the low 90s. An ERA is 0. The Dallas Morning News Player of the Year, 6th-round pick of the Orioles, signed with the University of Arkansas out of high school. He's a big leaguer. He's a big league pitcher. But as a freshman, we almost cut him. Like 4, all my assistants wanted to cut him. And I just said, no, we're going to keep the left-handed pitcher. Those kind of decisions are made in coaches' offices in January at tryouts, and you just don't know.
Man,
have you ever had a story going backwards? You're like, man, we got to keep this kid, and this kid's the real deal, and then didn't plan out.
Yeah. There's always kids that you think, oh man, he's can't miss, but that's just baseball in general.
Yeah.
I mean, there's how many first-round picks are taken and never play in the big leagues.
Oh yeah.
And it goes to that speed of the game. They just, why do guys make it to Double-A and that's it?
Man,
and people don't realize how big that jump is. Like,
no.
And
No.
I think that the more that I'm listening to you talk, the more I realize how big the jump from JV to varsity is. Like, or freshman, or even a freshman to JV. I think that the more we listen to Coach Senato talk, it's just the more you realize, like, that's a long way to go, man. Like,
it's not as easy as it looks, and going back to what you were talking about, and I know we're getting to our time, but I want to make sure that I get this, because a lot of parents, and this is mainly for parents, and man, we have a guy here that man, I'm over here like soaking it in. Like, golly.
Appreciate you. Oh, you talking about him? Sorry.
But a lot of parents those kids that are late bloomers, maybe they're not in the spotlight right now. They're not in a place where, all those kids, now rankings are out there at a young age. Oh, rank this, rank that, national. And those kids that maybe have not hit puberty yet, may not be in the spotlight. What can you encourage those parents to do, to just keep those guys, positive and focused? Because of course, social media is going to make it look like they are behind.
Right.
And, when in reality, it's hey, just keep doing what you're doing, stay focused, stay positive, stay believing, and, your time will come. What do you recommend?
Rankings are nonsense.
Jesus.
They're nonsense. Who's ranking them? Who's ranking them?
Perfect game, man. Perfect game, and who else?
Okay, but
bunch of dads.
So you're getting ranked based on how many of their events you attend. So what? So what? No, I don't care. I don't care what organization my kids play for during the summer. I don't care. I don't funnel them to this guy or this guy. I just go play. Incoming freshman. Well, he played on such and such, majors. I don't care because I don't know what kind of competition you're playing. So, I've had plenty of college coaches tell me over the years, don't send me his high school stat. Don't send me his hitting stats. Tell him to come to camp. We want to see him. Send me video. Because they don't know. I mean, yeah, last night we're facing dudes, but we're not going to face dudes every night. And you may play in a weaker district where there's no D1 arms, and you may hit 450. But the recruiting coordinator at name a college, they're not going to know the pitching you're facing on every Tuesday and Friday. They're not going to know. So your stats, your high school stats, they don't care about that. They don't care. They don't care about that.
So if college guys don't care about high school stats, high school guys don't even care about what these game changers say, man.
Oh no,
game changers say, man, you're hitting 700.
Whose mom or dad's doing game changers?
Look, sir, I'm gonna send you his game changer right now.
He's hitting 700.
Hey,
who's doing game changer? His mom.
I had a parent one year, it's a long time ago, and I had a kid that was returning starting third bases, all state. But he played basketball, so he comes out of basketball, and he's not swinging the bat real well. But he was all-state the year before. Well, I'm going to stick with him because he's done it. He had an all-state type season. So the backup third baseman's dad wants to have a meeting with me. Okay, he pulls out a folder, and he's got all his stats from 10U,
what,
all the way to JV.
Wow!
And I explained to him, sir, I appreciate you bringing me all the stats, but I don't know the kind of competition he played when he was 10U. That means nothing to me. Can your son play another position? Can he play this position? Well, sure he can. Okay, I'm going to start working him there, and he'll get a shot at that position. If he hits, he won't sit. We worked him in the outfield for a couple weeks. We gave him a shot. He's banging balls around. He was our starting left fielder the final 2 years of his high school career. He hit 390 as a senior. He could have went and played college baseball. He had opportunities, but he wanted to be an engineer. He's one of the best kids I've ever coached, and he's a highly successful professional engineer. But yeah, his daddy brought his stats to me, and
wow.
And I'm like, well, this is great, but I don't care.
I do. I've been thinking about this coming into today, and I wanted to get your thought on this. Youth baseball, it seems like youth baseball, there's more competition in the South, Houston. Yet high school, when it comes to high school, the North Texas seems to dominate. Do you feel like that's coaching? Do you feel like that's just players just there's better development out here? I mean, let's put this in quotation marks for the youth. But what did you think? Because it seems like over the last few years, North Texas gets to that state tournament. I mean, they're dominating. I mean, I could be wrong. But.
Well, I mean, Pearland won it last year. Pearland's loaded. They're from the Houston area. There's good baseball all over the state. Down in South Texas, Corpus Christi. That's a great baseball area.
Man, I seen a video. Did you ever see that video I think it was like Moody and I don't know, Siston or something like that. They pack Whataburger. I never.
Oh
seen
yeah,
like that.
yeah. They'll pack Whataburger for the fall ball championship game.
Wow.
They'll sell it out. It's
High school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Corpus Christi. That's a great area for high school baseball.
Man, we actually is, and to me that that area is growing a lot in youth. Also, a lot of programs and sanctions are moving to that area to host tournaments because the area is, the area is actually growing. Baseball and all over, and there's good baseball. Whenever went down there, man, it was good.
Yeah,
It's
there's
competitive.
there's good baseball all over the state. There's good baseball all over the state. Houston, Corpus Christi, that San Antonio, Austin area. There's a lot. And I'm talking high school now in the Waco area, China Spring. We played them last week at Globe Life Field. They're one of the top 4A teams in the state. They could hit 1 through 9 in their lineup. They threw some power arms at us, and they're a 4A school. Waco Midway is another great program from that area. There's good baseball in that Waco. There's good baseball
In Texas.
all over the state.
I'm
of Texas.
excited. I'm
It's
excited.
a great baseball state.
You
Go ahead. You go ahead, brother. You go ahead.
one question I do want to ask you is about coaches and he kind of he kind of started a little bit. I don't know if but what do you think? What do you think guys like me, guys like Peter, and maybe you can tag a little more detail in terms of how do we continue to develop this youth in terms of no, I don't want to say overall, just
Mental.
this mental part of it, the attitude wise, like what are some of the things that I guess you said earlier? What are some of the things that we can continue to do with not just in the game? I guess the mental part of it. You understand what I'm saying? I think that I'm not clarifying myself enough on this, but I don't think we hit mental enough. I don't think we don't teach approach enough.
Oh no, approach.
I don't think we talk.
Yeah.
I don't think we. So I'll give you an example. Today I was talking to Samuel, and Samuel's teammates happened to live like 5 minutes from the house. We brought them over, and we were talking about the lack of communication for them up the middle. Like we don't. Hey, I'm covering the hole. You going to the middle, or like, hey. I just don't see that enough. And I think maybe from your perspective into providing an advice to some of those other coaches, they're able to get on that because they don't. And the IQ has to be key. You mentioned it earlier, base running.
IQ.
There's kids out there, 14s, that don't know how to do a double cut.
Yep. It's true.
Because you don't have to double cut on small fields. But when you get to 60, 90, like our field at our school, it's 330 down the lines, and it's 390 to where the walls meet the center field wall. We play in a big field. I mean, it's a professional size baseball field, and we at least one day a week we work on double cuts, or we'll inter squad off the machine, and we're gonna bang balls off the machine, and we're gonna hit balls in a gap, and we're gonna work on it.
You didn't need double cuts when I was out in center. Just saying. Hey, you don't have to get what? Dude, man.
But man, this has been refreshing, and I'm excited, and for those who are watching, and in staying up to date with 3-2 bases loaded. Man, I hope you guys enjoy
before we
this.
go, we got that segment with our. She went and she covered the Mustang Panther game. So let's go to Savvy Cougar.
Hello, everybody. Today we're at Grapevine High School, and today the Grapevine Mustangs are playing the Colleyville Panthers. As you can see, it is full. Told you so. And now we are to 4-3 in the 4th inning. And Luke is pitching great. Hey, get up and sing with me.
Reaching out, touching me, touching me.
So much for watching. Let's give it up for Coach
Yes, sir.
Senato.
Yes.
I appreciate you, man. We love it. We can't wait to see you again.
His people are working with our people to see if we can get him here permanent in the fall.
Let's do it. Sign the contract, baby.
Hey, Coach, I gotta ask you one last question. Who's your pick for the World Series? Please don't say Dodgers. I mean, come on.
Dodgers.
Please just.
It'll be a fun one, man. The Mets are making some noise. I don't know if they're going to go far enough, but.
It's so tough. You got 3 good teams in that division.
Yep.
I mean, the Dodgers are loaded.
They are.
They'd be hard. They'd be hard to pick against. But yeah, the Mets have. I'm looking forward to seeing Soto and Lindor in the same lineup.
Do you think that who has the better lineup?
Until it's proven otherwise, I'm going to say Dodgers.
Yeah.
I don't want to give that answer, but I mean,
Dodgers, baby.
Man, you talk about that line. I mean, you can't.
That'll be
sit-
fun. I
or
can't wait
even
to see Mets and Yankees.
Not only that, like you see the Phillies, like and I think the Braves are just sitting here like, hey, what about us?
Me?
I know I was talking with my grandson about that, and he's like, I said, what about the Braves? He's like, they're beat up. They're beat up.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for subscribing, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And with that being said, 3-2 bases loaded, dog.
Bye.
Peace.
See ya.